Derbyites, something really strange happened this morning, and that was the Golden Globe nominations for television. There was some pretty good stuff, there was some really bad stuff, and there was a lot of ugly stuff. So we're here to talk about all of that and more with really my favourite people at Gold Derby at the moment, and that's Sam Eckmann. He's in New York City, Riley Chow's in Vancouver, Luca Giliberti's in Frankfurt, and Kevin Jacobsen is in Connecticut. And I'm in Sydney, and I'm Rob Licuriareact. Guys, I don't know where to begin, but let's just go with that one thing that stuck out like dog's nuts, that really just got up your nose. I'm going to go to you first, Riley.
Yeah, I don't know. These are a mess, which is fine. You know, I don't really know what I was hoping for. I guess a notable snub is Bridgerton. So I guess we can just all move on from that now. Great.
Good. Sorry. No. So is that it? Just Bridgerton? Because you were expecting them to just flood Bridgerton with nominations.
You know, I watched the Bridgerton screeners months ago, which I will say, and I immediately took it out of my Golden Globe predictions because I thought this is, you know, not prestige enough for such a, you know, highbrow awards group. But then, you know, in the last few weeks, it's just been everywhere.
Yeah.
It made the AFI top 10, and it's, you know, apparently everybody's watching it, everybody's liking it. It's nice escapism, and it is a period piece, you know, kind of. So I thought, okay, yeah, maybe it can make it in at the Globes. But now we can just go back to predicting, you know, the more highbrow stuff. Not saying that stuff is better, but it gives us some clarity, which is always what we like when we're predicting.
Okay. Well, I've got so many, but I'm going to let you guys speak first. And I think, Luca, you're next.
Well, I was convinced to underpredict Ozark because the show's in its third season. It's only received 2 nominations before this year, 2 for Jason Bateman. And it made a lot of sense for it not to do well here, just because sometimes the Golden Globes don't like the same shows that the Emmys do, even if the show gets 18 nominations. We saw with Game of Thrones that they just barely nominated it. So the fact that Laura Linney got in, Jason Bateman, Julia Garner, and the series was incredible. I'm very happy the third season was incredible. I'm very glad to see the show represented here. Again, Tom Pelphrey missing, which is insult to this point, but I was just happy to see the show recognized. So that was the big surprise for me. And The Crown, I mean, I expected it to perform incredibly well, but 2 supporting actresses is quite remarkable for a show in its 4th season at the Golden Globes, with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association favoring first season shows. It just shows how strong this show is, and I think it'll be very important heading toward the Emmys.
Yeah, like, there's no bigger fan of The Crown season 4 than me, I reckon. And if it wasn't for the Tobias Menzies missing out, it would have pretty much gotten everything and more that us fans were hoping for. So you're right. Tom Pelphrey, I don't understand that. So they nominated everything else, but not him. So he misses out on the Emmy nomination, and now he misses out on the Globe nomination. What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. But geez, what does he have to do to get some love in this town? Seriously. Anyway.
Well, he had to have been nominated by the Emmys, because then the Golden Globes are kind of just copying them.
True. That is a very good point. Sam, what about you? What sticks out?
Oh, well, Riley, they did nominate Fluff TV with Emily in Paris. They traded in one Fluff show for the other.
Flight attendant as well.
So yeah, but I mean, and to be very clear, there's nothing wrong with Fluff TV after this dumpster fire of a year. That's basically all I have the mental capacity and emotional capacity to watch right now.
Yeah.
I just want to watch, you know, Bridgerton with beautiful people in beautiful costumes, with Julie Andrews as a sassy writer narrating the whole thing. It's great, perfect. But they went with Emily in Paris instead. There was only one slot there in that field, I guess, for that type of stuff. So congrats to them. I guess, even though I know not to expect anything, just anything from the Golden Globes TV side, because they never do what I think they're going to do or what anyone does, I just really thought I May Destroy You would at least get actress, if not, you know, limited series. So that was a pretty big bummer, because I thought, I was like, I know this isn't exactly the voters' cup of tea. I know it doesn't speak to their demographic, but it had such a huge amount of buzz and so much attention on it that I thought it would manage to break through at least with one nomination, but it was not to be, I guess.
You know, I don't really understand that either. I don't know what to say about I May Destroy You. I think it's embarrassing that they completely missed the boat on that one, because they like to follow trends and look like they're hooked into what's in and out. Well, they've really missed the boat on that, because that was one of the best things on TV. And I know it was very confronting and sad. As you say, Sam, it was a dumpster fire every year for most of us. So maybe that's the reason, but I find that really embarrassing. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't think they watched it. So
No.
that's probably what happened there. But I will also just say Normal People is nominated for miniseries, as well as Daisy Edgar Jones, but no Paul Mescal. What
Yeah.
happened there? You know,
happened
he's like a hot young thing. He seems like the classic Golden Globe type of guy. Just didn't happen. I mean, happy that Daisy Edgar Jones at least got, like, you know, a nomination, considering she didn't get in at the Emmys, but still kind of strange. Also, the fact that Hugh Jackman is also not nominated in that same category is kind of shocking to me, as he is such a big star, but they didn't watch TV movies. So
Yeah.
That's right. But I mean, they still went for some of those stars, because they nominated Al Pacino in Hunters, which really surprised me. And, you know, like, sometimes I just get really frustrated, but there's a lot of good which you're going to talk about, but some of the stuff they missed out on. And look, let me just say this one thing. Let me get it out of my system. I know Riley's going to smirk, but how could you not give something to Outlander? You've nominated Katrina Bell 4 times in a row. She had her strongest season for season 5. Do you know that Twitter is going to explode now? What are you doing? Wake up, Golden Globe voters. You just don't know what you're doing. Anyway, we're going to talk about some good stuff now, because there was a lot of good stuff there. And I'm going to start. We've already talked about The Crown. I think The Crown season 4 was the best thing on TV in the last 12 months. I've already watched the whole season twice. It's amazing. So I'm really happy that it completely just dominated on the TV side, because I think it really deserved it. And I'm just basically snubbing my nose up at all those people out there that have criticized me and said The Crown is crap because it's not historically accurate. Well, you know what? It's not a documentary. It's a drama series. Anyway, so I was really happy about that. There's other things. I'm going to let you guys talk first. Sam, what really floated your boat?
The Mandalorian, which is probably my favorite show of the past year, because they snubbed it the first go around. I think they wanted to turn their nose up at it and pretend they were snubs that were too good for a Star Wars story, but it's just an impeccably made show. It gives, the only thing right now that's giving us like water cooler talk every week when it came out. So that was very deserving. I wish, Pedro Pascal would have been nominated, but that was a long shot considering he wears a helmet for most of the series. And then on the comedy side, I'm always and will forever be on the Schitt's Creek train. I was very nervous that the supporting players would not get in there, because they have such a crazy combined supporting actor and actress category that everyone competes in, but both Dan Levy and Annie Murphy managed to get in. And I just think that is one of the best shows of all time. And again, something in our dumpster fire of a year or of a time we're living in now. I honestly can't tell you how many times I've watched that series just all the way through. So congrats Schitt's Creek on keeping that going.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Whether you love it or hate that show, there's no denying that it deserves to be in the conversation. And I'm glad that the Globe voters went along for the ride, because they could have just snubbed it like they've done many times in the past when the Emmys go for something and they just think, oh, we don't really care for that show. So good on them. What about you, Riley? What did you love?
Well, I'll just talk about these Globe nominations overall. I mean, I took a lot of chances in my predictions on the film side and on the television side. On the film side, they really paid off, and I feel good about that. But on the television side, they didn't pay off at all. So that kind of makes me think, what am I doing here? What do I offer in this video?
Nothing. You are offering nothing.
I'll talk about a couple points, though, that have been raised already about, like, Normal People, for example. Normal People can never really seem to connect fully. At the Emmys, it got nominated for directing, writing, Paul Mescal, casting. Here, it's got Daisy Edgar Jones and the series, which were the two that were missing at the Emmys. Then, even at the Satellite Awards a couple days ago, they got the show in. they didn't get the performances in. I don't know. People seem to be watching that show to some extent. I don't know if the problem is people are a bit ambivalent about it, or if the visibility is just not quite there. So it's just getting some passion votes. I think it's interesting how we've got I May Destroy You, which is easily the most critically acclaimed show of the year. And, you know, we weren't really predicting it for the Golden Globes. We're not really predicting it for the SAG Awards. And then on the film side, you've got the film First Cow, which is, you know, the second most critically acclaimed film of the year. It's on all these top 10 lists. It's pretty much always number 2. And that's, again, a film that we were not really predicting for the Golden Globes. We're not predicting for the SAG Awards. Yeah, you know, these awards are supposed to be recognizing the best of the year, and there is such consensus around these two.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It reminds us that they're not really critics. They're, you know, I don't know what they really are, but they're not critics. Luca.
I guess I'll just speak about another nomination that I like, which is The Flight Attendant. That's a show that really surprised me. I'd never seen The Big Bang Theory, so I hadn't seen Kaylee Cuoco in anything, and she just completely surprised me in this. I thought she was extraordinary. I think she can win that category. Call me crazy. I know Catherine O'Hara will probably lead our odds at the beginning, but she's someone you really should watch out for. I'm just very happy that she and the series broke in. And I guess a notable snub I would like to mention is Mrs. America. That's a snub I saw coming, one I predicted. But again, the show got 10 Emmy nominations. It was one of the most critically acclaimed shows of the years. It did very well at Critics' Choice, yet here only Cate Blanchett makes the cut. So that's, again, very interesting regarding what Riley said just now.
It is. I think that's a really good point. Kevin, what was your favorite? And then I want to talk about a few things that also that missed out.
Well, just to sort of piggyback off of the flight attendant comment, I'm just proud of myself because I predicted the comedy actress lineup 5 for 5, and I felt pretty good about that, including Lily Collins and Jane Levy. So, you know, I was feeling myself there. But yeah, I think at first glance you could say like, oh, Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek got 5 nominations. But I do agree kind of with Luca there that Kaylee Cuoco, especially with her show getting into series, I don't know if that many people were predicting that. And, you know, she's kind of like outside of Catherine O'Hara, the biggest star with name recognition from that group. So I feel like they would want to just kind of have her there accepting something, and she would obviously be so thrilled. I saw just from today she was reacting to her nomination and she was just like sobbing mess. So can't even imagine if she won. So yeah, I was just really happy with that category, just because also I love Jane Levy and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and you know, happy to see a little underdog there.
Definitely. I was hoping Zoe's would make it into comedy, because we all know the rule that generally the performers win when their series is also nominated. So that puts a bit of a handicap on her. I didn't get 5 for 5, Kevin, because I was predicting Issa Rae. I'm very surprised that Insecure just is not on their radar, especially after that season, the last season they had, which was so strong. I'm also surprised that Rami didn't make it into comedy series, especially after Rami Youssef was nominated following his win last year. That being said, and so that were my takeaways from the comedy categories, because I thought the TV comedy actor category is really good. I think, to me, the best comedy of the year by far was Ted Lasso, and I'm super happy that Jason Sudeikis, and the show was nominated. It's a shame that Hannah Waddingham wasn't nominated, but you know, you can't have everything. And The Great as well did very well. Series and the 2 leads nominated. So the comedy categories here are not a mess like they are on the film side, which is really good. Before I turn it over to you guys, there's something else that really occurred to me. Many of us at Gold Derby thought The Boys would actually break through this time. That is the most popular streaming show in the world by far, even more so than The Mandalorian. And that completely missed out. I think The Boys, unfortunately, is pretty much done now when it comes to awards. This was their best chance. I'm really, really disappointed that Anthony Starr wasn't nominated, because he was fantastic in that show as Homelander. Anything else that sticks out, something that you're really disappointed about that missed out, or any other kind of talking points that you want to raise, guys. I'll open it up to you, because if someone has something really interesting they want to say, go for it.
Lovecraft Country getting into drama series without either one of its leads making the cut, which I think is very interesting. I'm just going to point it out. The Golden Globes have race issues, and there's no way of denying it in these TV categories. Again, I don't know exactly, I can't remember how many how many Black people we are nominated. I think 2 maybe. I don't know how many people of color in general are nominated. It's not very many. The fact that we have series getting nominated, but then the lead's not getting in, or as someone had pointed out, we have Rami getting into actor, but then he can never get the series can never get nominated. I May Destroy You is completely shut out. There's a pattern here, and it's not a good pattern. It's a pattern that has caused a lot of controversy. I May Destroy You has been trending on Twitter for hours. You have a bunch of actors coming out in its support and against the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So that, again, that's something that just stood out to me.
Go ahead, who else?
Well, piggybacking on that, that's something too. They have a problem. Sometimes they want to nominate the show if it is a big hit, but with genre TV like Lovecraft Country or The Mandalorian, they hardly ever nominate the actors. Mandalorian got into Best Drama without an acting nomination too. And of course, the Globes don't give out like writing or directing awards for TV. They don't have below the line categories. So it's really just down to the acting for the TV side. And they've done that before with things like The Walking Dead got in for the first season. No actors got in with it. Game of Thrones had 3 years where I think it was in Best Drama Series, but no acting nominations. So I think sometimes they want to like jump on board these trending shows, but when they're a big action, fantasy, sci-fi show, they just don't pay attention to the actors very much, it seems.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. That's something we should keep in mind going forward. Who else hasn't had a go at what else sticks out at you? Go ahead.
I want to talk about some limited series. So they finally moved on from Fargo, because they have always liked Fargo kind of more than any other group. Unfortunately, they've also moved on from Dirty John, which had a surprisingly good second season. I'm happy to see Unorthodox continuing to chug along. And I should mention Your Honor, because if I don't, then I'll have cut out this mask for nothing.
Oh my goodness.
That is
Here, I'm Ryan Cranston.
He's good though. I'm really glad that he's there. Actually, I agree. Before Kevin, you speak, I was thinking in the limited series categories that the Queen's Gambit, obviously, we all expected Anya Taylor-Joyce having an amazing year, and the show itself. But I was hoping maybe Mireille Heller might make it as well, because I thought they were going to really double down on that show, because it's probably the biggest hit from Netflix. I think generally you could probably make an argument for that. They didn't go completely nuts for it though. It doesn't matter. I still think it's probably going to win 2 Globes on the night. But anyway, go ahead, Kevin. What else stuck out for you?
Yeah, definitely co-sign that. Very sad for Mariel Heller, but The Power of Ryan Murphy continues. Ratched gets 3 nominations here, including Cynthia Nixon, which I don't know anyone who was predicting that she would get into supporting actress. So yeah, I mean, that was a show that came out like in September or so, and I didn't know if it was really going to sustain the buzz to get these kinds of nominations, but Ryan Murphy, they're watching his stuff. They love The Prom. They nominated Jim Parsons for Hollywood, so never count him out.
Yeah.
They sent a really nice box to Ratched to the Golden Globe voters.
That always helps. Was there like a diamond necklace in there, like a la Sharon Stone, or not? There was horror. Horror was represented this year in the Comey Rule with that really horrifyingly accurate performance by Brendan Gleeson playing Mango Mussolini. And I thought that was really cool, but I was hoping the Comey Rule would make it into limited series as well, because I really, really dug that, because that just completely and utterly shattered me in terms of retelling the events leading up to Trump winning the election by like 3 votes in 2016. That was really cool too. Also, The Undoing did very well, not surprising at all. That is like, if you go to the dictionary and look for what do the Globes love, like whatever word you want to choose, it has a photo of Undoing in there. And so Donald Sutherland making the list gives me some indication that they really liked that, and that could be a contender in one of the 4 categories it's nominated. Yeah, and also Perry Mason. You know, that's divisive. Some people didn't like it. Some people really loved it. To me, it was a bit slow to start off with, but I think it ended beautifully. Matthew Rhys is there, but the show is not. That hurts him. And yeah, and Bob Odenkirk, I'm happy that he made it. But again, I don't know what Rhea Seehorn has done in her life, but for some reason, awards voters just do not want to nominate her. Yeah, they're just not that into you, unfortunately, Rhea, which is a real shame because you're amazing. So that's really my main takeaways. Generally speaking, I'm pretty happy though with most of the nominations. There's always stuff that misses out, and there's always inexplicable stuff that you just kind of shrug at, but nothing really upset me too much. Final thoughts, guys, before we go. We're going to do predictions, Slugfest, with this particular group later. I thought we'd save that for later so we can actually let these marinate a bit longer. But just a final thought I want before we go. I'm going to let you think about it for a bit, and I'm just going to say, final thought is just give everything to The Crown and Ted Lasso, and then I'll be okay. I will make amends with you, Golden Globe voters. If you don't do that, then I'm just going to continue my Sicilian grudge. That's my final thought. What about you guys? Luca, you go first.
Oh God, my final thoughts. I hope Ozark wins something. It's up against The Crown in a lot of categories, obviously. It's probably not going to win drama actress. It's probably not. Drama actor probably has a chance. So I guess there's supporting actress left. It would be lovely to see Julia Garner win a Golden Globe after she's won 2 back-to-back Emmys. And otherwise, I just hope to see some surprises. I hope they don't rubber stamp. Schitt's Creek is wonderful. It'd be wonderful if it won, but I hope it doesn't sweep all categories like it did at the Emmys. And I'm pretty sure it won't because it's the Golden Globes. I just hope to see some surprises. And as I say, given that it is the Golden Globes, I'm sure we'll get plenty of them.
Okay, who else? Final thoughts.
Well, something we didn't talk about yet that I wanted to make sure I mentioned was I'm very curious to see what they do with small acts, because it is one of the most talked about, most nominated things around, but people have been confused of where to put it. Is it a film? Is it a movie? Is it a series of films? Is it a TV series rather? It doesn't seem, even though it is so highly praised, it doesn't seem like it's the type of thing the Globes often go for. So I am paying very close attention to see if any of like the actors can actually win from that, or if it can take Best Limited Series.
Okay. Kevin?
You stole mine, Sam. You stole mine. I was going to mention small acts there, where I think we've ragged a bit on the Golden Globes for being kind of shaky on, non-white projects as a whole, but I do want to give them credit for at least nominating this the miniseries, and for John Boyega in a very crowded category of supporting actor. I know he's a big star, but he delivers one of the best performances in that series. So yeah, I don't really expect either of those to win either, but that at least gave me some glimmer of hope that the Golden Globes aren't entirely hopeless.
And Riley, final thought.
Well, I'm excited for the SAG nominations tomorrow, because I think on the film side, we're expecting, a lot of the same films and performances to be nominated. Whereas on the TV side, I think we're going to see an entirely different slate. I think we'll see a lot of Dead to Me, a lot of This Is Us, more Ozark, more The Crown. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Although sometimes the SAG nominations disappoint me because they're so samey, but we'll see how we go. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for more with a different lineup, talking about the SAG nominations. And then, of course, this group hopefully will be back in a few weeks to provide our predictions on what we think will win in TV and film. In the meantime, stick with Gold Derby because, as you know, we pretty much have everything that's amazing, and we're the best website in the whole world on the internet. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's bye for now.